Hey, my name is Jethro Sigers and you are on my YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure to do so. That is the only way to guarantee yourself you will be notified when I post new videos. In this video, we're going to talk about multi-factor authentication in Office 365. Now, why would you implement Office 365 and multi-factor authentication? To increase security with cloud services, a lot of people try to do that by increasing complexity of their passwords. Username and password is still the most commonly used to authenticate in any service. Now, what do people do when the complexity of a password goes up? They write it down. They put it on a post-it, or they form some kind of logic that is easy for them to remember. Kind of contradicting to what you're trying to achieve by adding the complexity to your passwords. With multi-factor authentication, we can actually add an additional level of security by adding this, our mobile phone. Everybody has one, everybody uses it, and we probably won't leave the house without it. So by adding our users with the additional complexity of having their mobile phone, we can actually relax on the complexity of a password. So we're making it easy on our end users. They already have a phone, they love the phone, but we reduce the complexity on the passwords. So we're going to see in this demo how you can enable it from an admin perspective and what is the end user experience when you've enabled multi-factor authentication. The first thing we need to do to enable multi-factor authentication is go into our Azure portal. And that's the easy part. We're just going to portal.azure.com and log in with our credentials. To activate multi-factor authentication, we are going to use the Azure Active Directory module, which you can find here on the left-hand side. If you do not have Azure Active Directory enabled, just go into the marketplace, search for Azure Active Directory, click on Create. You're in luck because if you have an Office 365 license or you're using Office 365 by default, you can activate Azure Active Directory. So I'm going into my module, into Users, and immediately you're going to see that I have an option here for multi-factor authentication. That takes me into a new portal that allows me to select one or multiple users and enable them for multi-factor. In this case, I'm going to do that for myself and I'm going to click on Enable. Make sure you have your email address and phone number correctly active, otherwise multi-factor will be a problem. So I'm going to enable this, enable multi-factor authentication, and that is pretty much it. Now multi-factor authentication is enabled for my admin user, and in the next part we're going to see how the configuration and what the user experiences look like. Okay, in the next part of this demo, I'm going to configure my admin user to use multi-factor authentication. So I've already enabled them through the portal, the Azure portal. Now my admin user is going to log in for the first time since I've activated multi-factor authentication. So he's going to use the same username and password as he would normally do. And immediately you're going to see that there's a request for additional security. So the end user has to set this up themselves. So they can pick out of a number of options how the multi-factor authentication should be done. Now, there's multiple ways. So we can use the authentication phone, which is the mobile phone. We can use the Office phone, or we can use the mobile app. Microsoft has an app called the Authenticator that you can use to provide codes to multi-factor authentication, or just respond to a notification on the app. I like that approach the most. I don't want to mess with text messages or answering calls, so I'm going to use the mobile app. If your users want to do that, make sure they are aware that they need to install the Authenticator app and configure it. So that's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to go here in my mobile app, and when you select the mobile app, there's two options that you can choose. You can receive notifications, and the only thing you need to do is approve or decline the notification to log in. There's also codes that you can use, and that's the verification code. That means that the code needs to be copied from your mobile phone in the login screen to allow you to authenticate. I like the fact that I just need to approve or disapprove, and that's what we're going to be setting up. So to do that, I've already downloaded the Authenticator app, and the only thing I need to do is add this account to my app. So these are the two apps I already have in my Authenticator application. What I need to do now is add the third one, which the QR code you just saw on the screen. So I'm going to click the plus. I'm going to say it's a work or school account. And now I need to scan the QR code. So I'm going to go to my QR code. There you go. QR code is scanned. And now it is available in my app. What will happen now is in my Office 365, I can click on Next. They are going to check the activation status. And now we get mobile app has been configured for notifications and verification codes. Next. Now they're going to try to reach me on my mobile app. So what you see now is that I get a deny or approve sign in. So approve, and it says approved. And now there's a step 3 in case you lose access to the mobile app. We're going to provide a mobile number so that we can always change back to text or call. Next, done. And we're authenticated. The next time when we're going to log in, we don't need to go through the whole process. We will just get the notification on our phone and we can just log in from there. So it's really easy to set up multi-factor authentication, and it really helps people in reducing the complexity for password by adding an additional level of security, which in this case are mobile phone.